So we're seeing the German national champion, Steffen Mengel. I have to be honest, I didn't see that many matches of the national championships in Germany. Have you watched his performance of Steffen Mengel?
Actually, it was tough to watch because there were not so many matches around to get broadcasted information. But I spoke to Timo after, and he told me, well, first of all, Steffen Mengel did just like a brilliant job, and he had some troubles in receiving the service of Steffen Mengel. Steffen Mengel is known for having like a very good reverse service, and sometimes, especially for left-hander, it's tough to judge how much spin, how much upspin and downspin is in the ball. And as we know, Xu is also like left-hand player. Maybe this might cause a little bit of trouble in the beginning. We have to see. But I'm sure, I know Steffen Mengel quite well. He will fight like nobody else, and he was trying to look for his chances even against the #1 of the world.
That's right. That is, of course, what every table tennis fan in Germany will hope. This man here, Xu Xian, coached by Liu Guliang, #1 in the world at the moment, 23-year-old player from China, the penhold player, left-handed, as you said, one of the favorites for the spot of world champions. As far as expert opinions go, I'm not sure about that. I have to wait out his performance here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to my point of view, the highest bet for me would be Ma Long in case he's able to beat Timo in the quarterfinal, in case we have this match. So, but like, to be honest, this Ma Long, of course, is like a high bet on that. He is waiting for this big world title, and we have to wait and see in which direction everything will be going. But at the moment, Xu is ranked #1 in the world, and we have to see in which direction everything might be going during these World Championships.
You're exactly right. Take it one step at a time here, of course. If we are to speculate here, Xu Xian did win against Ma Long in the finals of the Korean Open, although I'm not sure about how Ma Long performed. Surely highly motivated here, as is, of course, Steffen Mengel for this match, coached by Jörg Roskopf, your successor, Richard, in the men's national team.
I think Rossi has done a good job preparing the players here for the World Championship. It was not that easy after 2012 winning 2 medals for the German team, and of course, like everybody with so many matches to play, sometimes it's not that easy to keep the motivation and the focus really high. But I think Rossi done a good job to this way of the season to get everyone really highly motivated to play well in Paris, and I'm looking forward to the world events, who kind of started right now with the first rounds.
Exactly. Coin flip. Steffen Mengel won one of the 7 spots for the Germans to play in the singles here. Of course, Christian Süß being injured, so one of these spots remained unused. It was quite unusual decision not to fill that up with another player like who's in the starting blocks there in the German team.
I mean, there was a little bit of discussion, might be like Ruben Filus, but like Ruben had some problems with the back, and Rossi in this way decided, okay, like I want to keep only the players who are really 100% fit, and the World Championships, it's maybe also not the way to let some of the really young ones who are a bit far away still from the top team play, and so finally I can follow this decision that he's taking only the 6 players. As we know, Christian Süß is injured. Hope he will be back for next year, but he took 6 players, and they will try, of course, more than their best. I'm sure about that.
Absolutely. Especially Steffen Mengel. It is his first appearance in a World Championship, if I'm correctly informed. 24-year-old player.
Quite some injuries he suffered before. He was one of the candidates also to get nomination 2009 in Stuttgart for the European Championships, and then he suffered some leg troubles there. He had a knee operation 1.5 years ago, so quite some injuries he suffered, but always he came back. He's a big fighter, trying always the best, playing recently in Frickenhausen in the first division, also having some good matches there, and well, let's see how is he doing with Xu.
Exactly, in that game, ladies and gentlemen, beginning at this very moment. Serving is the player from China, the world-ranked #1 penhold player, Xu Xian. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of short rallies, as this is, of course, what Xu Xian will be looking for, the penhold player. Very well known for having one of the best serve and receive games in the world.
You're more than right. It will be not too long rallies, will be more like short game, like maybe open with his side spin flick, what is Xu Xian was trying there. And then both will try to finish the ball as early as possible.
That was well done by Steffen Mengel, pinpointing the ball into the body of Xu Xian and then going for the wide angle onto the backhand side to finish it off. We saw Xu Xian using the so-called reverse penhold backhand. He uses the backhand side of the racket as well. He can do both techniques, the classic backhand as well as the reverse backhand.
And if there's one weakness of Xu Xian, then there's still this reverse backhand. He's a little bit hesitating there, not executing him with the same power as, for example, Wang Hao. But we had them last week in the Werner Schlager Academy, and he was practicing a lot like this, like opening the ball with reverse backhand, playing spin-spin with the reverse backhand. So he's fully aware of this, let's call it, little weakness in his game.
Yeah, little weakness is a good term. Might be just his least developed strength. 5-1, first game to Xu Xian. And I see your point, Richard. I see this very heavy topspin into the backhand of the penhold player. He failed to control that, bounced a little too high off the racket. This is maybe something that Steffen Mengel has to look for in this game. Great to hear even the ball bouncing. Can hear it spinning on the ground. Still the spin from the serve.
It was faster than Steffen expected, this long push to the backhand, but that's exactly what Steffen needs. Fast push, coming back, opening good spin rotation with the backhand, and then trying to change the placement of the ball. But you see there, in the moment when it was like this half long in this way to the backhand side, he was thinking, should I come with his reverse backhand? Should I step around? That was also a point where he was a little bit hesitating. At the end, it was a mistake from Steffen, but this was exactly the point we have been talking about.
And that was very well done from Steffen Mengel. Expected just that serve receive, as you said, Richard, the long serve receive again. Open up with the fast backhand topspin, of course, over the table. 7-4 still for Xu Xian. A lot of mistakes, though, to be honest, from Steffen Mengel.
To come back one more time to the final of the German championship between Timo and Steffen, it was exactly this reverse service we have been talking before, but this reverse service stayed in this match short. Yeah, and then it's like difficult to read for the spin. If it's going out half long, especially for left hand, it's easy to attack because the spin is coming into the racket.
Very in-depth analysis of Richard Brause. That, of course, is why he is the expert of the two of us. Once again, good placement of the serve receive from Steffen Mengel. Once again, into the body on the backhand side of Xu Xian, forcing, as you've said, this moment of hesitance. Should I use the block on the classic penhold, or should I play a topspin against it? But Steffen Mengel cannot afford to keep making these mistakes. I mean, out of these 9 points for Xu Xian, probably 4 or 5 were direct errors from Steffen Mengel.
Nice one.
Absolutely. Cannot afford to go into this long rally against Xu Xian. It is 10-5, 5 game points for the world-ranked #1 player from China.
And there Steffen had the chance to attack a little bit earlier, get earlier to the ball. But if you don't attack really early, you give the chance to the Chinese to come back.
And they do exactly that, taking the first opportunity to score a point here. 11-5, first game to Xu Xian.
good angle, really deep out in deep forehand of Steffen. And as you said, like, there are still 2-3 easy mistakes of Steffen inside the game. He has a little bit the system to flick in the backhand of Xugsin, gaining 2-3 points there. He had 2-3 chances more after his own service, where he was deciding a little bit too often for the slow topspin, giving Xugsin the chance for the counter topspin. And then again, I think also Xugsin has some ideas left for different service variation. At this moment, he was just like coming in the game, using more like this spin and no spin. He has really many different service variation, many different placement of the ball. Also the long service down to Steffen Mengel's backhands could be one option. Let's see how much of these options he has to show us. See here. Yeah.
Right, we're back in the action. Steffen Mengel to open up this second game. And this is just, you can see there's Xu Xian feeling so comfortable in these kinds of rallies.
And that's exactly where usually Steffen Mengel has to work the placement a little bit better. Either he's going for the first fast topspin, or he's changing the placement of the first topspin.
I see what you're saying. Although he scored here, no variation in the placement of the topspin from Steffen Mengel. Played 3 onto the same spot. That is something you can rarely afford, although they were placed into the body of Xu Xian. And that was well done. Awarding him his first lead. 2 points to 1. And with Xu Xian, it is always easy to see if he's confident and comfortable in his game or if he's not. And I have to say, this game, although he won the first game, doesn't seem to be very comfortable.
I think he has some respect from Steffen Mengel. I think also the Chinese know him from the tour, and he had some good results there. Sometimes even if he was not winning, for example, Austrian Open, very good match with Chuan Chiyan, 4-2, he lost there. And for sure the Chinese are prepared that Steffen Mengel is a very good player.
And you've mentioned it earlier, Xu Xian maybe not showing all his cards yet. Now once again, high risk serve from Steffen Mengel. Wants to put as much spin on the ball as possible.
And it's his favorite serve, this reverse serve. It's a little bit more upspin or downspin, but if this is not working, or if it's going out half long, then part of the match is just like not going in the right direction.
That was a good serve from Xu Xian, although he didn't manage to score the point in the end. Good blocking action too from Steffen Mengel.
Was not expecting this ball to get back. I think he was a little bit ready for this first topspin, but not for the second. Good action of Steffen.
And this is just textbook play against Xu Xian. Most of the players having so much difficulty in reading the spin on the serve. Steffen Mengel here misjudging it, lifting what he thought was down spin. Ball bounced too high. Classic penhole play too, that third ball attack.
Nice one, nice one. Good rally. You could see how Xugsin wanted to change the speed of the ball one time to get Steffen a little bit closer to the table, then spinning him in the deep forehand. But Steffen, also he's 1.94 m, I think, if I have right in mind. He's moving pretty well for this height.
Exactly, good footwork here. Also very patient here, not forcing a hard topspin, but rather playing the speed. And he's doing a really fine job. 5 points each. Excuse me, 5-4.
Nice counter topspin there. This time it was a little bit the opposite side. Usually Xu was executing the counter topspin, but this time Steffen stayed close. Nice angle there. Hand was up in order to take the power of Xu topspin in a counter topspin.
5 points each, of course, the score now. I don't know if I've seen that at all before. Service mistake from Xu Xian.
So in the service mistake, it's 1-1 now. Steffen gave him also one.
Fortunes have a tendency of evening out in this sport. And that serve, though, was very well executed. Perfect length of the ball. Steffen Mengel, you could see that was unsure whether to play a topspin on that or play a flick over the table.
Was hoping a little bit that this service got half long in order to start with a very, very spinny topspin, a little bit like Timo Boll's trademark shot, but a little bit misjudged the length of the ball.
And that again was one of these opportunities that Steffen Mengel cannot leave out against a player like Xu Xian. It has been said often how to win against the Chinese player, and if you have these opportunities, you have absolutely no other choice but to use them. They won't come again in a game, especially against the world-ranked #1. Once again, reverse action serve, successful for Steffen Mengel. Holding his own so far.
And of course, Xu won the first set, but still he seems to me a bit nervous, like getting some mistakes, which I didn't see him too often doing these kind of things.
Especially like this, exactly. This is one of the balls that Xu Xian, like 99% out of 100, hits the ball.
You know, sometimes if you play in a big hall and you play for the first time, I don't know if Xu was playing before in this hall. No, cannot be. So it's not so easy to adjust on the way the ball is bouncing. And Steffen Mengel was playing the mixed double in the morning already, so maybe he's a little bit used to the big hall here in Paris.
Right, that may be the case. This, of course, is what Xu Xian will be looking for. Look at the perfect touch on the serve, receive, and then going in for that one decisive topspin. And at the business end of this second game, he's on top again at 9-8.
Again, not fast enough. Not like good reaction of Xu, but we had this in the first game already 2-3 times. The return is half long, a little bit high. He has to step in with all the power. Xu was showing him, Steffen Mengel, maybe hesitating a bit, but he has maybe even more power than Xu. The question is, can he use it?
Exactly, in this instance, he does not. It is 10-8, 2 game points. Under the watchful eye, seems a bit concerned here, Liu Guoliang. Oh, and what a topspin.
And that's a little bit the difference also in technique. The technique of Steffen is a little bit coming all together from underneath the table, and we see here up the table. Yeah? The hand was not dropping underneath the table, and that's the main difference if you want to execute the ball fast and in front and put all the body behind.
Score meanwhile 2-0 for Xu Xian. Time is called, and we're back in the action here. Jörg Roskopf looking a bit concerned, but looks like he's writing something down here. Steffen Mengel awaiting the serve of Xu Xin, who's up in the lead 2-0. And this is a very, let's say, dangerous phase of the game, because Xu Xin in the last 2 points has been quite comfortable in finding his style and his flow in the game. Steffen Mengel now has to pay attention to not let this happen.
Exactly. Could have been, maybe, if we're talking a little bit in favor of Steffen, could have been a 1-1 if he's taking 1 or 2 of the chances at the 7-7 in the second. But then 2-0 down, the Chinese very often start to get rolling.
Exactly. This is also very difficult for Steffen Mengel now from a mental perspective. He's still thinking about, maybe I should have done this different in the last game. Not looking forward to this game here and feeling to be 2-0 down against a Chinese player. Feel maybe a bit helpless here. We'll see how Steffen Mengel deals with that.
You know what I like of the service of Xin? He started, the first 2 service was like a really high top service down the line, long one. Second was a high top service, but a little bit short. Now he's coming from a little bit like a lower way of doing the service. So many variations inside, it's really difficult for the opponent to really judge the spin. Again.
See that high toss, right?
And in this way, I'm really also quite sure he did that on purpose. Half long out and waiting on this diagonal way in order to execute the counter topspin there. Actually, Dmitry Ovtcharov is using the same system from time to time with his overhead service, producing very much side spin, waiting the topspin of the opponent in his forehand side for getting the counter topspin done. That's not enough.
Actually, right. Not a good quality of shot here from Steffen Mengel. That is not enough to stop Xu Xin from attacking. I'm sure he knows this, but how can he change it? As you can see now, Xu Xin, he's on a roll.
You see now also topspin from the placement, too easy, too much diagonal with not that much quality. The right choice would have been to play this first ball down the line in order to make Xu Xin block or make him move more.
If you look at that in slow motion, it was actually quite spectacular. Xu Xin switching to shakehand style here.
And not only switching to shakehand style, but also switching to the red rubber, which many of the Chinese are doing in order to execute these smashes, because with the Chinese rubbers, very often they're playing on the forehand side. They don't have the same feeling. Many of them, they're doing like this.
Okay. That is very valuable insight here. Wow. And this is just the kind of shots that I was expecting in the first 2 games. This is the Xu Xin that we've known. In deep backhand, playing forehand nonetheless, diagonal. All the more that is very difficult to execute. Of course, that ball does not come back. 10-2. 8 game points for China. First one used. 11-2 the score. 3-0 for Xu Xin. Time is called. We're back in the action in Paris. I've been tapping into the knowledge of the experts here all day. Let me do it again. Richard, you've been head coach for Germany. How would you coach Steffen Mengel now, being down 3-0?
I think in this way I would encourage him to use all the chances to get this extra experience, also to get this experience to play against world #1 in a world championship. And from tactical side, I would convince him a little bit more not to do these forehand returns in the forehand side of Xuksin, maybe coming a little bit more with a backhand flick to backhand side of Xuksin, and trying to find a way when he can keep the service short, not half long as he was doing right now.
Well, this time, this trusted reverse action serve worked out once again. We've seen that it has not on several occasions. Very good serve, floating serve this time. Xu misjudging it. And then maybe not enough power on the first topspin, and ball came back somehow.
You feel it's not one of his favorite shots there. He might be able to get a good backhand topspin, but he's preferring.
Oh, and the first topspin was very well executed and very well brought back by Xu as well, and then adjusted by the net. Difficult to execute that heavy backspin.
This is what you said, like really was heavy backspin because Steffen produced so much spin on himself. That's better placement, not with the backhand, but with the forehand this time to middle deep backhand, because Xuksin, of course, has to step unless he's not relying too much on the backhand reverse topspin. Good start for Steffen. 4-0, keep on going. Nice one.
Exactly. And I have a feeling that Jörg Roskopf did indeed coach Steffen Mengel in the exact way that you would have. Seems to be much more relaxed now. And who could blame him? I mean, he's 3-0 down in a world championship against world rank #1. Why not enjoy yourself, try some new things here, get the experience? And you can see him performing really well in this game so far.
And we should never forget, he's 3-0 down, but he was in the second game to 7-7, and he had 1 or 2 chances. Now he's up 6-0, and at this moment, I mean, currently he's ranked 150, 160 roundabout, I don't have in mind, yeah, but like really not in the top 100. So first of all, it's good that he's competing on this level, and second of all, he's doing it well. Not in all the games, but like now he's 7-0 up. And he's flipping it more, he's more aggressive. It's not like this soft flip to the backhand, it's more aggressive there if he's opening up, and that's how you can get some pressure to Xuksin.
That's right. Steffen Mengel indeed is ranked 163 at the moment. But we don't see a different Steffen Mengel here. We just see him in a different state of mind. And the question might be, how do you get in that state of mind from the first game on and not being down 3-0? I mean, it's very difficult. Obviously, you're under pressure in the first game. You want to show your opponent that you are able to beat him, going high risk.
To find the balance, this is not that easy, because of course we are here not only for enjoying, we want to win.
3-7. First 2 points for Xu. Maybe a little bit late on that forehand topspin. Might be due to his 1 meter and 95 centimeter size. Very difficult for him to get down in time.
And that's again, it seems to be that the service is slipping out, but like he's doing very often that on purpose and then turning out very, very early in order to execute the counter topspin. That's also like a tactical way of playing against many European players, because on this half-long service, many of the European players, they have really problems in playing this ball down the line. And I'm sure Rossi also will tell him a little bit in this direction. Make sure if you have the chance to topspin the ball, not too much in the diagonal, waiting for this ball a little bit more straight down the line. If you flick, risk for the ball a little bit, not like only put the ball, but like accelerate. Doesn't matter if you have this side spin flip with backhand or the regular flip with forehand side, but go for the ball.
Really interesting at this moment, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot see Richard Brause, but he's doing exactly the same hand motions as Jörg Roskopf is doing in the coaching. Might be synchronized in some way. And again, Steffen Mengel up 7-4, although the last 4 points to Xu Xian. Might just be a lack of focus on the side of the Chinese player.
4-7.
Nice one.
Absolutely well done. I saw exactly what you were predicting, playing that ball down the line into the backhand and then setting it up to the deep forehand side, which was open.
And there even Xu is losing the balance because he's always moving in this diagonal way.
Wow. And that just goes to show you the strength of this forehand topspin, which is so amazing, not only because it is swung from the whole arm, but also look at how versatile, how much variation he can put in a forehand topspin here. Down the line, very well executed. It's applause from the audience, deservedly so. It is 5-8.
6-8.
Seems to be an easy mistake, but we should never forget, when Xu is playing short, it's not only to play short, it's short, aggressive, and it's a little bit more spin than usually you expect. And then if you're a little bit late, net out, it's quite often to happen. This was forehand ball.
8.
And he was already moving into playing backhand on that one.
Main thing is now, Steffen is not rushing, like keeping the concentration, keeping the focus, especially about the placement.
It was his point to lose. Set this up quite nicely with the serve return. Very short into the forehand side of Xu Xian. 8-all from 7-0.
That's quite impressive, actually. Because, like, okay, 1 or 2 balls, maybe Steffen was a little bit less concentrated, but the rallies Xu was playing now is really good.
8-9.
That one as well, bringing him in the lead, 9-8. And it just may be the case that the dream of the World Championships is over right here for Steffen Mengel in the singles. 2 points left for Xu Xian to score.
Let 8-9.
And there is the match point 2 for Xu Xian now to advance to the round of 64 in the World Championships 2013. What can Steffen Mengel hold against that? Out of the last 12 points, he's scored 10. And he, with a little bit of luck here, he scores this match point as well. Xu Xian beating Steffen Mengel from Germany 4-0. And I'm sure you agree, we've seen quite a good performance from Steffen Mengel. A little bit of edge missing, especially in the second and third game.
And I'm also sure he will be a little bit upset by not getting to the 5th game somehow, by leaving 6-0, 7-1. So I'm sure he will be in one moment happy to say, like, this was not a bad match against Xu, but he will be a little bit arguing with the chances, especially in this 4th game. Nevertheless, I think Steffen did well, and Xu showed, especially now in this 4th game, after being 7-0 down, what kind of possibility this player has.
Absolutely, a little coaching here after the match, as customary in China. Nevertheless, Xu Xian beats Steffen Mengel 4-0. It was the first of 4 men's singles matches. Coming up next is So Yondok versus Simon Gauzy from France. A lot of audience participation, I'm sure, in Paris-Bercy. The hall is quite full at the moment. Next game coming up in a few short moments.